this okay? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited. It's great to see all these familiar faces. Yeah.
Do you feel a little bit like we're like the old guys from the Muppets? Because I kind of do.
Yes.
So we're not going to make any jokes, I promise. That is the only one.
Yeah, so I was just going to start by reading from chapter 2 of the book. It's called Swipe Left to Avoid a Terrible Fate. Online dating is just more dangerous for women than it is for cis men. A lot of guys don't realize that the stakes are infinitely higher for women who are engaged in online dating. When you ask men what they're scared about when going on dates arranged online, it's not that they're worried about their physical safety. It's about whether or not they'll have wasted their time with a person to whom they're not attracted. Wow, dudes, must be hard. That's why it's so important for women to take precautions before meeting someone in person. Of course, no one wants to waste time on a date when they could have avoided it, but our main concern is simply not getting murdered. This chapter will explore a few ways to minimize and possibly even eliminate your interactions with assholes/serial killers. Knowing the enemy helps you get a sense of the red flags to look for. I'll also cover the safest ways to build your profile. Once you're online, you must keep your FELIPE fence up at all times. What is a FELIPE fence? It's a set of standard rules to follow that will significantly reduce the odds of coming in contact with and experiencing a by FELIPE situation. If he doesn't meet your FELIPE fence standard or has more than 2 red flags, cut him loose swiftly and ruthlessly so you can move on to the next one. We'll get to rejection techniques as well, and I'll show you how to make a clean break. First things first, when you're making your profile, follow my official dating rules for safety and fun. 1. Use unique photos. When you create a profile, it's safer to take all new photos that you only use for dating profiles. Photos that are not on Facebook or anywhere else. Why? A little thing called Google reverse image search. Go to images.google.com and drag your current profile picture into the search bar. Try not to crap yourself when you see all the personal information that comes up. Bonus, use the same tactic to research him before the date, especially if you think he could be a catfish. Limit how much you share about yourself at first. Do a search engine check on yourself. Make sure a stranger wouldn't be able to find your personal details about you without your telling them, like your address or phone number. Don't link your Instagram account to your dating profile unless it's locked down too. Don't use your last name in your username. Google the shit out of him. Get your private investigator pants on and look for anything weird online before you go on your first date. Don't know his name? It's usually incredibly easy to find. All you need are 2 pieces of information about him. Dudes are usually not too concerned about online stalkers, so all their information is just out there. You can usually figure out where he's from or where he went to school just from small talk. What does he do? Oftentimes you can find out who he is before even talking if he lists where he works on his profile. Facebook makes it ridiculously easy to find people. Say his name is Tim and he went to NYU, but lives in Silver Lake, Los Angeles. All you have to do is search Tim NYU and narrow down the results to only show people who live in Los Angeles. I've also had great results with Google searching a first name and his phone number. If he has his number connected to his Facebook account, he might also show up in your People You May Know section. About a year ago, I noticed that this section of my account was a who's who of dudes I've gone on one date with and never spoken to again. It was basically a straight up list of one-night stands. Can you say creepy? This is because Facebook connects your saved contacts in your phone and brings up profiles associated with them. You may be able to disable this from coming up in your privacy settings and prevent yourself from showing up by not syncing your phone contacts to Facebook. And that's why you always do a Google. My friend Ray had a particularly close call in 2016 when she was talking to a man, Daniel, from OkCupid. They had talked on the phone a few times and were finally going to meet up, but Ray wanted to know his full first name first. His full first name. She always researches anyone she's going to meet by looking them up on Google and Facebook. Before I went to meet up with him, obviously, I wanted to know who the hell he was, and that's how everything kind of came out, she said. Daniel was particularly hesitant to give her his full name, but he eventually did over the phone. Typing it into Google, Ray found some alarming news articles about him. He had been arrested and charged for binding, gagging, and assaulting a sex worker who he thought had stolen money from him. Ray contacted OkCupid and told them about Daniel and sent links to the articles about him. OkCupid responded by thanking her for bringing it to their attention and that they didn't want someone like that on the site. They deleted and banned his username, email, and IP address associated with him. Ray blocked his phone number and thankfully never heard from him again. My friend Mary also met a fellow on OkCupid and found out later that she should have researched him more. This was 2012 and I barely had my first smartphone and wasn't as on Facebook as I am now, she said. I went out with a guy for almost a month after matching on OkCupid. We slept together. I went to his office Christmas party and met his roommates, who were very nice, and one of them had a girlfriend, and she was very not nice to me. I didn't understand why at the time. I thought maybe she had beef with him, so I brushed it aside. Mary said she asked him on her podcast to promote the band's upcoming show. When I went on Facebook to post about our new episode, I looked up the band's page so I could add the link and then decided to friend him, she said. His profile picture of him was of him and a very cute girl. Mary gave him the benefit of the doubt and figured maybe they were broken up. After I friend requested him, he must have blocked me because I couldn't find his profile afterwards, she said. And then Mary put the pieces together. She remembered that during the podcast, one of his bandmates mentioned a woman letting them practice at her parents' house for 2 years. When her podcast co-host asked who the woman was, one of them slapped Joe in the back and said, "Joe's meal ticket once she finishes grad school." Apparently Joe was engaged to the woman and thought Mary wouldn't find out because his fiancée was attending grad school on the East Coast. His room was shockingly clean because I found out later he had put all of her stuff in the bin in the closet so he could sleep with other girls while she was gone, Mary said. Since Joe had blocked Mary, she couldn't contact his fiancée to let her know about what was going on. And once the band realized, they all blocked her too. Sometimes a dude's profile can show no red flags, and he'll even seem normal when messaging. But you never know what might be under the radar conservative. Sorry, this book is not for Republicans. Go read Ayn Rand or something. My friend Lauren Kenner was texting a guy from Bumble and decided to check his Twitter feed. Dude retweets Trump and Tommy Lauren and called Donald Trump a smart, effective president. I feel like I just Matrix dodged a bullet. Were there any warning signs, I asked? Was he wearing khakis? No clues. He worked on a liberal comedian's TV show for 4 years and had photos of it. Lesson: it's always good to do a double check on their political values. How is it even possible to be aroused by someone who actively participates in stripping you of your bodily autonomy? Not to mention the slimy, racist, and classist policies they support. It's unfortunate if you're one of those socially liberal, fiscally conservative people being lumped in with the KKK, but it's just that anyone associated in any way with the sentient burnt Cheeto in charge makes our lady boners shrivel up like the dried out old pinto bean you find on the seat of your car from that time you ate street tacos at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I'm like gonna have to really hold it. I will use my cheer voice. Thank you for that. That was lovely.
You're welcome.
So the first thing that I wanted to ask you is, since the dawn of Tinder, there have been like offshoots like crazy, dating apps. Where do you think we go from here? I mean, we've got Bumble, we've got Coffee Meets Bagel, we've got Field, we've got I don't even know. Where do we go from here, and what's the future of online dating?
Yeah, I think that apps are going to have to figure out a way to make it incredibly safe for women. Otherwise, they're just not going to be on them anymore. I think technology needs to evolve, and there needs to be a way to, make it more safe.
Are there some that you recommend more than others?
No.
No.
they're all equally shitty or good. I don't know.
had the events of 2016 election turned out differently, do you think we would still be in the same boat we're in right now? Would things be different?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the election definitely just made a lot of women realize that we're not going to take shit anymore. Like, this stuff was happening before the election.
Right.
Like, I created By FELIPE in 2014, but I think with the election, women are saying, like, they're not overlooking things that they probably would have before.
Cool. What is your main advice to somebody who's new to online dating?
I think my main advice would be just to not take it seriously, go into it with a sense of humor, and just like have fun.
I never did it, so I don't know these things. You have experienced lots of dating ups and downs, and you talk about some of them in the book, and you're pretty forthright about all the times you basically got like your heart broken and just garbage men played with your heart, which how do you stay optimistic when you've been online dating so long? Like, what keeps it going for you?
I mean, I haven't like gone on an online date in like, I don't know, at least 8 months probably. So, but I think just like
Are you just taking a break?
Yeah, just taking breaks and getting yourself together, and I just don't have the time for it right now. And you know, I'm just working on myself.
I love it. So part of the book that I really loved was when you talked about being your own dream girl. And I thought that was amazing because I've obviously known you since 1994. And you're still the same person that you always were, but you have definitely changed a lot and done amazing things. And so how has your life changed since By FELIPE blew up? And how have all those experiences shaped the person you are now? Because a lot of people are looking up to you as kind of like a online dating, feminism figurehead. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really weird. I think when I started the Instagram account, it was just a joke. It was like an inside joke between me and a bunch of friends, and we've had inside jokes like...
No, we've never had any.
Like, speak in other languages, basically. And so I never created it to create something viral. I never even thought anyone would get the joke or think it was funny. And then, I just keep on thinking like, oh, no one's gonna care about this next week. Like, it's just like an internet thing. It's not that serious.
But people do still care.
I know.
And why do you think that is? Like, what makes it resonate more than some of the other accounts that blow up and then fade away?
Yeah, I think, I always try to just insert humor into something that's kind of serious. So it's always like walking the line between being funny and but also the posts are really dark.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think it's just like a cultural trend right now, and I'm glad to be starting the conversation about feminism and dating and online harassment, because I think it's something that needs to be talked about more.
And you do talk a lot about it in the book. Like, if the harassment continues, what's your number one piece of advice for people who are really seeing it from garbage men?
What's my number one advice for?
Like, for fighting harassment. Like, what do you do if it escalates to a point where you're really not comfortable?
Yeah, that can happen. And you have to block and report the person, obviously. But I have like a list of resources where you could get help for if you're seriously concerned for your safety. Like, there are organizations and people that will help you. I think it's important to note that like the police and the law are not caught up with online harassment and online laws. So you can report things to the police, but a lot of the times they're not even going to care. Like, I've had friends who were like getting death threats on Twitter, and they called the police, and the police came to their apartment, and they were like, well, just go up, stay off the internet. So
that's not really how it works.
It's not really helpful. But there are a bunch of people online and organizations that can help. One of them is Hollaback.
Mm-hmm.
They have an online version called Heart Mob, and you can get immediate help if you're experiencing online harassment.
What do you hope the impact of By FELIPE and the culture that it's created, what do you hope that impact will be in like 5 years?
Yeah, so this book is more speaking to women and helping them and, helping them deal with the shit that they deal with. But I think if I get to write another book, it would be directed towards men. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just important to be talking about changing the gender roles and how both men and women police gender roles, because I think the next thing is like working on toxic masculinity and working on the aspects of masculinity that are problematic and that hurt other people. So really starting a conversation about that. And
do you hear from a lot of men regarding the account?
Yeah, I hear from a fair amount. Men are usually like, "Oh wow, I didn't know that was happening," and then a lot of, not all men are like that. Right. We're like, "Yeah, we know." We know that. It's not all men, but like someone's doing it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know who it is, but it's happening. So.
Right. I want to talk to you a little bit about who and what inspires you,
mm-hmm.
because I think you were fortunate to grow up with a mom who really like thrust you into like going to protest. We did a Take Back the Night march when we were 6?
Yeah, we were in like 4th grade, and my mom brought us to a Take Back the Night protest.
Yeah, so we always had that grounding. But what inspires you now, and who inspires you? Like, who do you look up to and think is making real change in the world?
I'm really fortunate to live in Los Angeles, and I have a lot of friends who are doing amazing things in, I don't know, just like in entertainment and writing, and who are making names for themselves and just being entrepreneurs. And that's really where I get inspiration, is just from all of my friends.
Yeah, you do have cool friends.
And you. My friends here too. I mean,
we're fine.
I'm trying to think of.
I mean, it's not an easy question to just like whip out at somebody. What is something that you really love about dating, and something that you could do without? Because you're my like dating oracle. I didn't really date that much, so.
I mean, I like just meeting new people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm going on dates, I just like meeting new people and finding out interesting things about them. And I always I always go on dates thinking like, well, at least it'll be a good story to tell.
Right.
And I think a lot of the dates that I went on were experiments for like the book.
For the book. Like you're working and dating.
Yeah. It's just like, well, I'll write about this. But like the bad things are like, if it's like a waste of time,
right,
or if the person isn't.
What's your escape if it's a bad date?
I usually think of something before
just
I go on a date, just to have in my back pocket. So if I need to leave, I'll just be like, sorry, I have to feed my friend's cat, or like, I'm really tired, I have to work in the morning, or like, a good one is like you look at your phone and then you're like, oh my gosh, my roommate's locked out of the house, I have to go.
You can't really argue with that. I only have one more question for you, and then we'll open it up for everybody else. But since I've known you for so long, I just really want to know what your mom says about the book.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know because I've seen it on Facebook, but
yeah,
I feel like they would like to know.
Well, I didn't let really anyone read the book until it was totally done. So I was really nervous about what the reception would be like. But my mom texted me the other day and she was like, I finished the book. It's really good, especially the last chapter.
Oh, cute.
I'm proud.
Cute.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Let's open it up to everybody else. Does anybody have questions?
Thank you.
My boyfriend kind of likes to see what girls like me on lesbian Tinder.
Mhm.
Is that weird? I found out a lot too.
He likes to say.
It sounds unique.
I don't think that's weird.
Me neither. It's kind of funny.
Okay, so I'm about halfway through the book right now, and I'm really bumming out. Like, I can only read it for like 20 minutes at a time because there's a lot of humor like infused in it.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just like, wow, that's a real shitty situation out there.
Yeah.
And I have a young daughter, and I'm just like really worried about the future. So I just want to know, like, as this book progresses, is it gonna get better, or is it really small bites of it? And also, second part of the question is, do you think you're gonna make this required reading for future potential suitors?
Yes, I hope it gets better from where you are. I think part of the middle is kind of brutal. My editor wanted me to like censor some of it too, and she was like, can we take out this part about like hot sticky cum? And I was like, no, it's real. Like, that's what's happening. But you know, it's brutal, but we can also laugh at it, and we're supposed to laugh at it because it's ridiculous and absurd. But yeah, I mean, towards the end, I try to make it a little bit more uplifting. So, the second part of the question was, what was it?
Are you gonna make it required reading?
Oh, no. I think I've already experienced like meeting guys who find out what I do, and then they stop talking to me. So I don't know. Maybe it's a good filter.
The ultimate.
Any other questions? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have men written to you and been like, "This can't be real. I don't believe it's real."
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
In the comments on Instagram, a lot of the time, men will just be like, "That is not real. Someone just made that up." And it's like, I get like 20 messages a day. Like, I don't have time to make them up, and like, who has time for that? And also, there's just like so many examples of the same exact thing. So, I don't know.
What do you respond to that? Like, how do you?
Ask any of your lady friends.
Yeah, I'm like,
You will get all of the stories.
literally just ask anyone. Every woman has experienced it. It's not weird. Like, every woman has seen someone masturbating in public in front of them. Like, right? We've all seen it.
On the bus.
But it's not something that we usually talk about. So that's what the whole thing was. Like, the whole Instagram account was like, let's talk about this thing that we don't really acknowledge. It's like a daily thing.
Right. It's like having a conversation with your friends, but with like 200. How many followers do you have
Yeah,
right now?
like almost 500,000.
Yeah, with all of your friends.
Yeah.
Do you have a name for your like fan base?
No. I should.
You really should.
Philippians.
As someone who's been in a committed relationship for like 35 years or before the dating sites, and actually before the internet. But I'm a mom of 2 boys and 2 young men, and you know, it's all very new to me, so I don't know, how much of a danger this is for women, for young women, and I fear for young women that they could get stalkers and not only harm them emotionally, psychologically, but actually physically be a threat to them. And the other thing is, I know some people, a lot of young people who have met, wonderful folks on these dating sites,
Definitely.
and are in very happy relationships. So I'm hoping that what you're presenting there is still hope for good relationships coming out of dating sites.
I definitely think there is still hope. I know a bunch of people who are getting married or have been married or are in long-term healthy relationships who met on Tinder.
Yeah.
And so many people, and
That's kind of how people date.
it's kind of like one of the leading
It's how people
places.
date now.
Yeah.
And my last question is, would you be interested in meeting my boys?
Love.
Sure.
They're my cousins. So
They're okay. I promise they won't send you any
You outline a lot of the different dating sites and some of their pros in the book. Are there any dating sites where the moms kind of exchange information? Because I think that's actually a pretty good idea.
Getting set up, moms setting people up on dates. That sounds like a great idea. Someone make that app.
It's like arranged marriage, but it's arranged dating.
Yeah.
Matchmaker moms. Yeah, we can do it.